Hello, and welcome to the Paid Off Project, where I'm trying different side hustles to see if I can pay down the remainder of my student loan debt just a little faster. So far, I've been focused on reselling, and what I'm going to do today is go over my current Native American pottery collection. If you're on YouTube, that's what you're looking at right now. Most of these I have up for potential sale. At least one I'm going to keep. That could change, but if you're watching on YouTube as a fun game, if you want to pick out which one of these you think is the most valuable, and then which one you like the most, which may be different. So I'm going to go over each of them, what they are to the extent I know, and around where I think they're priced, as well as for most of them, where I got them and why I picked them up. All right, let's get into it. So the first piece we're looking at is a piece that I picked up about a week and a half ago at an estate sale, where, as I talked about in a prior video, I dropped $200. Update, I went back 3 days later and dropped some more money. But this I picked up the first day. It is a piece of pottery that I believe is Hopi. I think it was labeled there actually, but I'm not 100%, so I'm going to indicate that. It is, let's see, maybe a little under, maybe 4.5 inches tall. It is a nice size bowl in polychrome. There's terracotta, black, and like a not quite white, like a sandy color paint. But there is a lot of dirt and aging, and there are two visible cracks. Pretty hairline, but one you can see on the inside. It's still intact. I don't think there's really a risk of it crumbling and falling apart, but that type of thing definitely needs to be factored into pricing. Here's a spot where, a lot of the paint is worn off, and so I think new this would be easily 400. Right now I have it priced in the 200s. We will see. I want to do a little more research and see if I can find out more about it, because looking at the bottom, which is typically where you want to look on pottery for signature maker's mark, there's no signature. There's no indication of Pueblo or location, which are also common. So I don't know too much about it other than it's dated, good size, um, nice shape and coloring, but has wear. So we'll see what happens on that one. The next piece of pottery is a black, we call it a bowl, that bulges at the outside. It is fully black, but there are different ribs that are they're raised in the pottery. That's the design around the outside, is just these ribs, and they are glossy. And then in between them, the lower part of the rib or ridge, if you think of it that way, is the matte black pottery. Looking at it, I got this at that same estate sale on the Sunday, which was the 50% off day, because I definitely could not afford this on day one. And looking at it, I was kind of surprised it was in the section with Native American pottery, but since I'm still new and learning, it looked more just like a mid-century piece of pottery. But it was labeled, and it is actually signed on the bottom, which may be hard to see on video and impossible to see on audio. But the artist is Angela Baca, and she's of the Santa Clara Pueblo, and she's a known artist. So she's someone that people collect, and she is well known for this style of bowl that has these, they're called ribs. I believe this one has 32. When you're looking at her art, it'll say how many ribs. And the primary colors are this really cool blackware pottery, or she has red colored ones too. Sometimes they're referred to as melon bowls. This I comfortably feel like is a hundreds of dollars piece of pottery. I have it priced relatively high right now in the above 500 marker, but below $1,000. And so we will see. It's a cool piece. It's in good shape. There's a few other ones, but fewer with this currently. Who knows by the time this is out, but with this bold shape to the outside. And it's just a really nice piece. So we're going to see how it goes. And again, known artist, which is not just true for native pottery, but any pottery or artwork, if it's someone that's known and people collect, that adds to the value. So these are two pieces that I currently have listed separately. They are little pots. One is maybe about 3 inches tall. The other's little, we'll call it 1.5 inches, little under 2. And they are polychrome black, white, and terracotta in color. They're in really nice shape. The smaller one has what appears to be an agave type design. And then they are both signed by initials. So there's initials that appear to be GA and then a little either crowfoot or some type of bird insignia underneath. And they're marked Laguna. They're from the Laguna Pueblo. These I know are vintage, not because I purchased them, but my father did, and I know just dating time. So that's where these came from. He has so many treasures that you just never know about. These were just tucked away in a cabinet. So I think realistically, without knowing the artist and doing some comps, small one maybe $15 to $20, large one hopefully in the 30 to 50. 50 is probably aggressive on this one, but I'm going to put them together and see how it goes, see if I get offers, go from there. And part of the reason on pricing for me on these is they just, to me, have that cool factor. Maybe it's because they're in good condition and the black paint is vibrant and it's in stark contrast to the white. But we're going to see. But they're definitely not the most valuable pieces that I have, even though I personally like them a lot. This next piece is the largest piece of pottery I have. It's about 8 inches tall. It is a vase shape. The inside is glazed in the way where it would probably hold water, plants, and possibly did because there's some dirt. The coloring, the shape, it's tapered at the top and wider at the bottom with white. Looks like, actually, it's hard. It has a feel to it, into it. And it is a Sioux piece by J. Vermillion. It's very cool. This one I picked up because I think the colors are kind of modern, starting with a navy-ish at the top, fading into a teal turquoise, and then pottery color, terracotta at the bottom. What I probably definitely should have paid a little more attention to was that there's definitely some dirt, some chips in the pottery, not like a chunk out piece missing, but like a chip in the paint. And so that is why I was able to purchase this for under $20. I think realistic pricing, gonna price it at 50 and go from there. I think it looks cool and have no problem if it's in my house as decor for a while. All right, so now this next one's fun. This next one is about a 5-inch tall bowl. Goes out at the sides, not as much as the melon bowl, and then slightly tapered at the top. It's black and white pottery, has a lightning design, and it is signed on the bottom. Initially looking at this one I got at that same estate sale where I spent a lot of money. Looking at it, there's some, maybe just because of the prominence of the black and white, but it looks modern, right? And I just thought, oh, it's a pretty piece. It is actually a known artist named Carmel Lewis, Acoma, created in 1991. So Carmel Lewis is actually part of the Lewis family, which is a well-known Acoma family of potters. The matriarch from what is Lucy Lewis. So if you see her stuff, Lucy Lewis, dang, um, four figures. So typically, like a lot of her stuff's in thousands of dollars, which is cool. Karma Lewis died not that long ago. There's some pictures of her, which is cool to see, and she's donated some works to colleges, and she's known for this lightning type modern-ish design. I'm not using great descriptive words, but this piece I think is, if you're looking at gallery prices, I do think realistically probably $500. I have it priced under that currently. And in 5 days, I got one offer. Came in at 241. Actually, they got to 250. And just today, I opted to decline. I think we're going to wait a little longer, right? It's only been 5 days. I do think this is a sought after piece. I think 250 that I can get more than that. And this one, I don't know. Check back if it was a good decision to hold or not. But in the meantime, it looks cool in my home. This last piece is also one of those that, my dad just had around at the house. It is an unmarked, it's like a flower vase shaped piece of pottery, the like three color terracotta, black, and white, which the colors have now faded, about 7 inches tall. It is marked Acoma, New Mexico, but no artist name, so that makes it harder to really determine the value. Definitely vintage, definitely more dated than the smaller black and white, like 3 inch and inch and a half ones. I would guess this is in the, I don't know, 150 to 300 range without having done a ton of research. But this one I'm gonna keep. Has a good feel to me, and I do want to keep some of the things that feel good and that I'm coming across that are just unique pieces. Whew, that was a lot of talking. And I will report back on here what sells, how much it sells for, that type of thing. Might be waiting a while. We're in August, slower season, but hopefully they'll be picking up soon, and I'm happy with my purchases, so we'll see how it goes.